Welcome to the Dating After Divorce podcast. I'm your host, Shade Curry, and I believe every divorced woman deserves a romantic relationship where she feels safe, loved, and cherished. You can create the most amazing life after divorce, and I will teach you how. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Dating After Divorce podcast. So today I want to share with everyone a concept that I developed during the Valentine week of 2022. So I guess that was about a week or two ago. And this is a concept that I shared with all of my clients during that week, just to get them, ready for Valentine's Day week, which I know there are a lot of feelings around that week. People experience so many different emotions. People have different experiences, different memories, attitudes around Valentine's Day. So I kind of put together this concept to help my clients get through that week, or at least look at that week in a different way. And it was really simple. It was just the idea of love versus romance. And one of the reasons I did that was because there's a phenomenon out there called love bombing. And anyone who's been in a relationship with a narcissistic person or a toxic person likely has experienced love bombing. And love bombing is when the person just really overwhelms your senses with what I'm defining today as romance, right? So it's like dinners, expensive dinners, a lot of contact, a lot of high emotion, a lot of promises of the future, just a lot of intensity. And for someone who's unprepared or sort of, I don't want to use the word naive, because you may not be naive, but when you don't know the difference between love and romance in a very serious way, and you haven't investigated and examined these concepts, even if you're savvy, you could get caught up in love bombing. You could totally get confused along the way about what's actually happening. And so I had all of my clients go through this exercise where I asked them, what is the difference between love and romance for you, right? What is love? What is romance? And when you know the difference, you can experience both of them appropriately in your relationships. You can define what they are for you, what they look like. You know what to look for in a relationship. Many women will settle for a relationship that has romance in it, but then doesn't have any love in it. Often because we think romance is the sign that a person loves us. At least I think that's what I thought. So if a guy is taking you out to dinner, he's showing up, he's texting every day, he's talking to you, he's doing all the things that are sort of the external signs of loving a person, then if you don't understand the deeper levels that go into love, you might think, oh yeah, this is great. This is, this is amazing. And then some people go to the other extreme where they're like, oh yeah, he's coming to me with flowers and roses and whatever. There must be something wrong with him. He must be love bombing me. But in my opinion, the right relationship, the perfect relationship, a healthy relationship has some combination of love and romance. And now that combination is going to look different for different people. And this is why this exercise is so, so important for everyone to do. Now, when I'm thinking about romance and thinking about why a person might think romance is love, it's because we go into this state, sort of this child energy state where we want to fall in love. We want to be enmeshed. We likely have spent a lot of time fantasizing about being in love, about being with a person. And we're so ready for that we don't investigate. We don't investigate if it's real. You might be seeking validation in the relationship. You might be ignoring your own intuition, or your intuition is completely confused. You don't really have any idea what's going on there. You might be forgetting your long-term vision when you're participating in just getting caught up in romance. Now, when you want love and romance, it slows things down. When you examine the two concepts, it really slows things down. You are curious about what's happening in interaction. So it's not that you reject a guy who's taking you, I don't know, on a helicopter ride with flowers and chocolates or whatever. It's that while that's happening, You give yourself the opportunity to just ask questions. Well, this is great. I'm enjoying this helicopter ride. This is amazing. What else is here? What else do I need in this relationship? Is everything I want in this relationship present, right? And then you can make decisions based on, not just based on being caught up in the emotion, but on examining exactly what's happening. You stay grounded. You stay in mature energy versus child energy. You take your time to observe the person, you clarify, and you have a willingness to see the red flags, right? And stay in touch with what you're really looking for in a long-term relationship. So I want to dive into just some details from my perspective of what romance is versus what love is. And like I said, this is going to look different for you. Like, you need to take the time to decide what it looks like for you. You really want both of them in your relationship. So love, let's start with that. That's the non-negotiable. Love is the ingredient that makes a long-term relationship even possible at all. Love is the glue that holds it all together. Love is what feeds the health of the relationship, that makes it meaningful, that makes it long lasting, that makes it viable for a long-term commitment, right? And so when I kind of thought about love for me, it looks like, and I made a list here, thoughtfulness, consideration, affection, laughter, safety, trust, peace, the ability to be your authentic self with that person, kindness, steadiness, reliability, calm, warmth, mutual reciprocity, mutual consideration, mutual care, collaboration, partnership, growth, a growth mindset, understanding, appreciation, gentleness, friendship, flexibility, emotional availability, presence, stability, fulfillment, honesty, dependability. Like, all of these words to me are ingredients that make up love. Like, this is the stuff that you need in any relationship, not just in your romantic relationships, anyone that's going to be in your life, in order for it to be healthy, for you to let that person get close to you, to be intimate with that person, to have an intimate friendship with that person. All of these ingredients need to be there, right? Whether it's a friend or a partner or within your family, like, for someone to be close to you, for you to be able to trust your heart to another person, all of these ingredients have to be there. The person has to be loyal and truthful, right? And honest. And you need to be able to trust your personal information to the person, especially if they have access to it. You need to feel safety with the person who's going to be in your life. And all of these ingredients that I've described here with love are what would go into that. Now, when you have just love and no romance, it sort of looks like that. I guess you could call it the steady. I don't want to use the word bland, because those relationships aren't necessarily bland. There's some relationships that you look at where the guy and the man and the woman, or, are friends. Like, they don't go out, they don't do anything. They, like, I guess what comes to my mind is some of the stories that I read when I was younger about, like, just a farm couple. They just, they built their farm, they had kids, and it was all about the farm and the work on the farm, and they had their kids, and in the evening they sat around the fire and talked, but there wasn't like flowers or dinners or anything like jazzed up like that, right? But those relationships were completely viable once there was love. If there was love, then those relationships were viable. But it's 2022, so for a lot of people, like, in this generation, more recent generations, we want romance. We're like, listen, we want flowers. We want to go out. We want some adventure. We want passion as part of the relationship. And so when I kind of wrote down my list of what romance looked like to me, I wrote down, like, intensity, flowers, trips, dinners, cute social media pictures, heightened emotion, passion, thrills, excitement, adventure, poetry. I call my husband the poet because he's really great with words, and I enjoy that, especially when he writes about me, and I'm like, yes. So dramatic gestures, things like breakfast in bed, like all of the extras, right? We enjoy that. Like, romance is good. There's nothing wrong with wanting romance. what was interesting was when I asked my clients, to do this exercise and tell me what love looked like for them and what romance looked like for them, it was so interesting to see that there's a wide range of what people want to experience when it came to romance, right? So I had one client who was like, well, I'd like to go on adventures with my partner. I'd like to go hiking. To her, just going on a walk was romantic, right? Watching the sunset was romantic, but she didn't want any big dramatic gestures. She didn't want a lot of pizzazz. And she was like, ugh, that feels a little too much for me. And so that was her definition of romance. And it was perfect for her. And it was really good for her to know that, so that when she picked someone, she wouldn't pick someone who would, create dramatic or use dramatic gestures to try to win her heart, when all she really wanted was more meat and potatoes kind of stuff. And then I had this other client who was like, give me all the things. If it looks like it came out of a romantic movie, she was all in for all the things. Now, for both clients, being able to define romance for themselves was so good, created so much clarity. And it was also really important for them to have defined love. So they're looking for love first, and then their version of romance as the sprinkles on top of it. Now, in the end, kind of when we did the discussion, it was listen, you want love and you want romance. I don't advocate that anyone settle for a relationship that has love or that has all of the meat and potatoes and they feel fulfilled and it's very meaningful, but then they lose out on the variety and chemistry and passion that they want. I don't really advocate that. I think it's much better to hold out for the person who matches your definition of both. But if you do decide, you know what, I'm good, this is enough, then that's also fine. What you don't want to do is get love bombed. What you don't want to do is, get caught up in romance and all of the trappings of romance and then miss out on love because everything is just so heightened and there's so much going on. We talked about, situations where people are going on these really great events that they're enjoying and they think that they're enjoying that event because of the person that they're with versus enjoying the event because the event is amazing. So if you're dating someone and he takes you to a concert, or both of you go dancing, or you go to this amazing restaurant, or you go on a trip to the beach and it's all amazing and you get caught up in all of that and you think, oh my God, he's perfect for me because he checks off all the list for romance. But you don't look for love, that's where people get in trouble because the checklist for romance, anyone can do that. Anyone who can afford all these things can love bomb you with that. Not that everyone who's doing that is love bombing. It's just that anyone can create romance, but not everyone can create love with you. And love cannot be faked. People cannot fake kindness. They can't. They might be able to do one nice thing, but you cannot fake a truly empathetic, loving response to a situation. But they can hide all of that under romance, breakfast in bed, and they're doing all these things. So I really just wanted to share this with you. It was a really robust conversation that I had with my clients, but I want you to make your own list. If you're listening to this, sit down and say, what is love to me? And make a list, go deep, right? And then make another list. What is romance to me? Well, how much romance do I want in my relationship and what would it look like? And then prioritize love, but look for that person who has that compatibility with you, who is that want match with you, who wants the same things, wants the same level of romance. But make sure that love is there first. If you settle for romance without love, you end up in a really toxic, painful relationship because what you're really looking for is to be loved for who you are, to be accepted, to be treated with kindness and consideration. Your ideal relationship is going to have that firm foundation of love with the right amount of romance, right? That's how you create a long-term relationship. But if there's no love, whether there's romance or not, just make it a hard no. If you see someone who just doesn't have the emotional capacity to act out of love without being told what to do and forced to act in love. You can't even force someone to act in love. Let's just get real with that. If a person doesn't have the capacity to love, just make that a no and move on and keep working on the dating process until you meet that person. All right. That's what I have for you today. I want to thank you for your time and attention, and I will see you next time. Thanks for listening today. If you are ready to get married after divorce, I want to invite you to download my free 8-video training specifically designed to help divorced women date with ease and get married again. Head over to sadecurry.com to get started. That's SADECURRY.com. I'll see you inside.